Hi guys, I'm the Dutch Movie Guy, and today I'm reviewing Star Wars Rebels Season 3, Episode 6. Yes, I'm calling it 6 right now. The Last Battle. The thing is, last week I already was like, Hera's Heroes was Episode 4 or 5, but they changed the episodes officially to the first long episode 1 and 2, and then after that 3, 4, 5. So now we're at Episode 6. So I'm going with that now. If this is the first time that you watch a review of mine on Star Wars Rebels, you should know I am reviewing all the Star Wars Rebels episodes of Season 3. So if you've missed any of them, they're up on my channel. And you should know that I will talk about this episode like you've seen it with me. I will spoil the things in this episode. If you haven't seen this episode of Rebels, you should click away right now. So last week I had this crazy prediction about this episode being awesome because it's called The Last Battle, and it would be the last battle between Maul and Obi-Wan, but nothing like that, so too bad. And it turned out that it is an episode with droids. Separatist droids. The Ghost Crew is being dropped on a planet and they encounter droids, and the droid commander wants to fight them with his droid army that he has over there. So then Rex, Ezra, and Canon have to fight droids, and at one point the Empire finds out that they're there, and the droids and the Ghost Crew have to team up to defeat the Imperial forces. Before I get into my actual review, I have to say, Star Wars Rebels is one of my favorite all-time shows. Now, I love Star Wars Rebels. Most of the episodes are fantastic. Some are a little less, but I like all of the episodes. I also am quite a big fan of Clone Wars, even though it has a lot of issues. I like the show. I actually started rewatching Clone Wars yesterday because I'm slowly leading up to Rogue One by reading and watching all the things that happened before Rogue One. So after Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, I was like, okay, now I'm gonna watch Clone Wars and then Revenge of the Sith and read some books and whatnot. So I like Clone Wars. I love Rebels. I hated this episode with every bone in my body. I hated this episode. I cannot believe there is a Rebels episode that I absolutely hate. I cannot believe it. I have not hated an episode of Rebels so far. Some are weaker, like the one with Wedge from a few weeks ago. That one was a weaker one. I still like that episode. This is the first one. I cannot describe my hatred towards this episode. There are not words for how I feel about this. It's honestly baffling. I do not understand what the fuck they were thinking with this. I'm sorry for cursing, and I will curse through this review because seriously, what the fuck was this? This was the only episode so far in Rebels that I'm like, this is filler. This is leading nowhere. Nothing in this episode is going to lead up to something. At least I hope not, because I don't want any battle droids in the original trilogy kind of things. It's like the battle droids were for the prequels, and they sucked. So stay away from that bullshit and give us some good episodes. So far we had 4 episodes this season, 3 of which I loved, 1 of which I did not love. I liked it, you know? I liked it. I didn't think it was a strong episode, but I liked it. This was absolute bullshit. We already had Clone Wars. We had 6 seasons of Clone Wars. I'm done with it. I like most of Clone Wars, but I'm done with it. I don't want any more Clone Wars. Just give me Rebels. That's why I'm watching this show. I don't want Clone Wars anymore. I want Rebels. Usually I do my review with saying good things first and bad things second. So I guess I'll have to say some good things about the episode. I did find out some minor things that I liked. So one thing is, if you watched the Clone Wars TV series, you recognize certain things in this episode. You recognize certain nods, fan service basically. So the hardcore fans of Clone Wars will probably like this episode a lot more. And I liked what they did in terms of some fan service, like some nods. I was like, that's cool. One of my favorite things of the prequels actually is a droideka. That is a cool design for a droid. An actual threatening droid instead of the stupid battle droids. Like, a droideka is cool. I love the design, I love how they work, and I actually liked seeing it back in this episode. They were malfunctioning, and I'll get into the issues later, but I liked seeing that in the episode. I was like, yeah, that's cool. And that's it. That's all I can say that I liked about this episode. There was not anything that I was like, oh, this episode is good in any way. No. It was just fan service in terms of prequel likers. I don't like the prequels, so this episode is not for me at all. This was an episode of Rebels and Clone Wars put together. It reminded me of the Clone Wars movie, which is a bad movie. There is not a lot in that movie that I liked. You get the battle droids again. You get the tone in their voice that they tried to make them human. I honestly do not understand what the fuck they were doing. I honestly do not understand what the fuck they were doing with this episode. I'm like, why the fuck does this episode exist? Why the fuck does this episode exist? Honestly, the first time we are introduced to battle droids in The Phantom Menace, they are CG, bland, stupid, non-threatening things. So then at one point they try to give them a certain tone in their voice so that they can have a sense of like sarcasm or comedy. They should never have added that. They should never have gone with that throughout Clone Wars and Revenge of the Sith, because it's stupid. And they do it again in Rebels. I'm like, I'm not watching Rebels for that shit. I watch Clone Wars because it's like, in that era it makes sense. Just get rid of the battle droids, please. And what I thought was even worse is that at the end of the episode, the Empire comes there with AT-ATs, not AT-ATs, these things right here. Those are AT-ATs, not AT-ATs. You don't say ATST, you say AT-ST. Anyway, those come in to fight the droids and the Ghost crew. And the droids actually managed to win against the Empire. They managed to blow up an AT-AT. Fuck this episode. Honestly, fuck this fucking episode. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for ranting, for cursing. I just cannot express my feelings any differently than this. This was the worst thing Rebels has ever done. This was so bad. This was horrible. It's like, the words I'm saying don't even do it justice. Like, it's worse even. I mean, I don't know what they were doing. You know, I'm just gonna stop talking about this shit. I'm just gonna focus on what we're going to see next week, because I'm so done talking about this shit. Anywho, next week, the episode is called Imperial Super Commandos. I don't really know what it could be. I would like to see more of the Imperial troopers themselves. Like, that is something I really liked about this show so far, and also is in the Lost Stars novel, when they explore the side of the Imperials, like how do the people in the Empire deal with things and how do they interact. That's always cool. But I was also thinking, like, we got that trailer at Celebration, really cool trailer of course, that showed a lot of things that we've already seen so far in the beginning of this season. And I think that trailer is once again for the first half of the season, and then they will make another trailer for the second half of the season. So what in the trailer did we see that could be in the next few episodes? One of them is that moment when the Mandalorians, who we know from the Clone Wars, come back, and there's the line that says, worse, Mandalorians who work for the Empire. So that could also be Imperial Super Commandos. I'm not sure, that's just speculation. But it would be cool to see that, because I've seen a clip of that episode where Ezra and Sabine get into some cool shit together. So I really hope that will wash away the bad taste that this episode left in my mouth, because I already said it, this episode was terrible. So that's really all I want to say about the last battle. I'm done with this. What I do wonder though, are there people out there that did like this episode? Are you a fan of the Clone Wars and did you like what this episode did? Or are you with me and you're like, this episode was useless, pointless, and should not have been made? Please, whatever you think, let me know in the comments below. Now, in the next couple of days, I will put up some more reviews for Star Wars in the lead up to Rogue One. One of them is this comic, Obi-Wan and Anakin, and the other one, of course, is Attack of the Clones. So look out for those reviews next couple of days. And as always, if you've liked my review and you want to see more of my movie, trailer, and Star Wars reviews, click right here.